Hello, my name is Gabby and welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here, then welcome to my channel, and today's video is going to be my January reading wrap-up and then also my February TBR. But before we get into that, I just wanted to let you know that in the description of this video, I will be leaving the website for the National Coalition Against Censorship, since one of the books in the TBR portion of this video has been unfortunately and wrongfully impacted by censorship. They have like a resources, news, a donate, and a report section, among other things on there as well. And then there are also going to be content warnings in the description of this video if you are thinking about checking any of these books out and think that you may have any concerns. So we're going to start with the wrap-up, and then we are going to do the TBR after the wrap-up. I finished 2 books in January, and we're just going to go in the order that I finished them in. And the first book is The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. So this is an adult epic fantasy that is African inspired and follows a society of people that has been built around war and war only, as they have been fighting an unwinnable fight for nearly 200 years. There are some rare, lucky individuals who were born gifted. The women in this case can call dragons, and the men can turn themselves into stronger, faster, etc. killing machines. This basically leaves everybody else for death fodder, and our main character knows all of this and has a plan for the way he wants his life to go. However, that all changes when those closest to him are murdered. Now he is fixated on revenge against the individuals who betrayed him, as he strives to become the greatest swordsman to ever live. This was a fast-paced and just really fun read for me, and I had a good time with it. That being said, also because of that pacing, I felt really disconnected from the story, the characters, etc. But there were just some really cool things in here, and I said this in my review, but I'm gonna say it again. I think that I would really enjoy a nice quality live-action version of this story, maybe even more than the book, again, depending on the quality of that live-action series. Yeah, I ended up giving this 3, maybe a 3.5 star rating. I'm still not sure whether or not I'm going to continue on with this series, but I do have more positive feelings about it than I do negative. So the last book that I ended up finishing in January is The Kingdom of Copper by S.A. Chakraborty, which is the sequel to The City of Brass. The City of Brass follows our main character, who accidentally summons a djinn during a con and is forced to come to terms with the fact that magic is actually real, even if she didn't want to believe in it beforehand. So like I said before, this was the last book that I ended up finishing in January, and I finished it at 11 o'clock at night on the last day of January. I've been talking about this series a lot lately, and I do want to talk about it more once I get the 3rd book done and then do a video for just the 3 of them together. But this was so worth the amount of time that it took me to read this, and it took me over a year to finish this. There were so many scenes in here that just had me on the edge of my seat, and then just so many points where I just couldn't and didn't want to put this book down. As always, I was super invested in these characters, and I've really grown to love them, and I am so engaged with their story. And then once again, as always, I was just completely sucked into that story. The writing was still a little tough at points, which made some of the chapters a little harder to get through, even though I was very interested in them. And then there also is a certain character who I don't really love, and his chapters were a little harder for me, which is why I ended up giving this a 4.5, but it's certainly much closer to a 5-star than a 4-star. I am so excited to see where everything goes, and I said this in my last video, but this has just quickly become one of my favorite series ever. So now it's time to get into my February TBR. There are 3 books in here, but this isn't really finalized quite yet. Well, it is finalized in a sense that these 3 are basically locked in, but there's maybe some things I would want to add. What those things are yet, I don't know, but I'll probably know soon, depending on how the month goes. And the first of those books is Stamped: Racism, Antiracism, and You. It's not a history book necessarily, but it does dive into the past to the present type of thing, and breaks down the racist ideas and how they got made up and distributed in the past, and specifically how that past still lingers today in America. So it is currently February 4th, I think, and I think I started this February 2nd, and I am on page 113. So my education growing up around these type of topics was less than perfect, and I don't know, I hear a lot of things about like what other people get, and compared to that it looks a lot better in comparison. So I'm like trying to recall what I can from memory while reading this, and this is also helping me like connect things from both that education to what is in here, and then also from what is in here to what I know about present day. And it's just a really engaging and interesting and also educational read. And then also just Jason Reynolds. Like everything I've ever read from this author from a writing standpoint is just so top tier for me. And then obviously there's just like the sheer importance of what is written in here, and I am definitely glad that I picked this one up. So next we have Blood Like Magic by Liselle Sambury. Although Stamped is insanely important, I didn't want it to be the only type of content that I consumed for Black History Month. So I will be continuing my journey of finishing my unfinished 2021 reads with this book. Not that this has necessarily been sitting around long, especially compared to a lot of the others, but I'm definitely ready to finish it, especially since I saw that it has a sequel, or it's going to have a sequel, whichever one it is, and I've really enjoyed what I've read from it so far. This is a debut that follows our main character, who is given the task to sacrifice her first love in order to save her family's magic during her calling, which is a trial that every witch must pass in order to obtain their powers. There are some really fun character dynamics in here, and I'm also really enjoying our main character, and then also everyone else in here. There are a lot of characters, and sometimes I feel like when the cast of characters is this large, some of the more side characters can kind of come across as two-dimensional or flat, but that has not been the case for this one in the slightest bit for me. And then also the witchy stuff has been a great time. I am a little concerned that I may have already figured out where this book is going, which will be kind of disappointing, but it is what it is, and I won't know until I finish it and or catch up to this series. And finally for this video, we have The Empire of Gold by S.A. Chakraborty. This is the third and final book in the City of Brass trilogy. So this is the only book in this video that, let's face it, probably won't be done by the end of the month. It is incredibly long and February is short. That being said, it is just time for me to finish this trilogy, even though I'm sad that I will no longer be reading this trilogy for the first time when that happens. Although I also don't think it will be my last time reading this trilogy, which has been like something I've been using to comfort myself the closer I get to the end. Like, hey, you can just reread it. I know it's long, but like, you can. I also really need to know where everything goes, and based on the way book 2 ended, I'm really excited and also a little scared, which is fun in its own way. So yeah, I've already talked about this book in this video, so I'm not going to talk about it again, although I certainly could. But I just want to start this month, and then we'll see how far I get. How many pages is it? Oh, it's over 700 and the words are small. Okay, so yeah, Blood Like Magic, I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, is also pretty long. So I think that that book might take up a majority of February, but if it doesn't, again, I do want to start this, and this is also where I go, do I want to add something else? And I don't know the answer to that question yet. Okay, so that is all I have for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and answer the question that'll be around here if you want to do that. And hopefully I will see you here next time. Bye!